Alrighty, welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. It's almost time to jump into our very first map of the day here. It's going to be Rogue taking on Ghost GG, and we'll be jumping into the old NA Standard. It's going to be starting things off on Cash for our very first map. Wonders, what do we expect to see in this matchup here going against these two teams now?
It's going to be a slugfest. Cash is it's a puggy map in the sense that it's on CT side quite similar to T side. There's a lot of avenues of interest for CTs to push. Their mid is very crazy. There is a lot of opportunities for fast rotations, and so CTs are juggling on this map more than most other maps. It's much smaller than a map like Mirage or Inferno, where the rotates are quite long and you have to kind of plan ahead when you want to rotate. On Cash, you can kind of do it on the fly, and because of that, Ts can take advantage of it, but also there's a big onus on individually smart decisions when moving, because Ts will try to influence as many rotations as possible so they can catch people off guard all the time. So that's going to make it very exciting.
Absolutely, and we should be getting into it, guys, in just a couple of moments here. You can see on your screen now the players are getting themselves warmed up, and I believe it doesn't look like we've done the reset just yet, so it's going to be a couple more seconds here. But we're talking a little bit about predictions earlier. Obviously, we went into it a bit lightly there because we had to throw to the break, but going a bit more in depth, who do you see actually taking control of this matchup, and why do you think that's going to be the case?
I just have like I have my own personal bias because I played some of the members of Ghost. I think that I played them in like 3 different matches in different tournaments, and they like destroyed me on Cash. So I'm personally terrified of them. I also haven't watched too much of them playing this season, whereas Rogue yesterday we saw, and some of their standout flaws had me really worried. It felt like they didn't have much of a mid-round, and when they would make, sometimes out of spawn, they would go into default, work a single pick, and then from the pick, it seemed like they would just go off of what information there was from that single player, and basically it looked like comms cut off. So that had me a little bit worried. So I hope that the mid-round's a little bit stronger, but maybe that default style will work better for them on T side.
All right, well, we are jumping into the pistol, so let's take a look and see. Will Ghost get ahead out of the gate first off here and take that early advantage, or is Rogue going to try to shut them down right from the start of this one? A bit slow, as they basically just line up for the default here. A couple players from Ghost wrapping over into those B halls, though, as they hold 2 inside. And Shinobi taking a bit of a contest himself out through Z. It's Z there, but Vice, he's going to be ready to go right in. Gets that quick headshot, as does Hiko, and now Vice pushes right through for 2 more as well. And Hiko also finds his second kill. A quick shutdown from Rogue as they take the pistol.
Yeah, a very common thing to do is after you is doing a quick B hit with Vents controls. Running out mid can be quite easy. Sometimes there's only one person watching it. This setup was obviously superior. Vice, even though he got caught off guard and missed a couple of bullets, had a lot of time to set up and had so much information auditorially on those players splitting. Was able to just destroy them, no problem. And you know, sometimes that strat will work even if they're set up properly. But there we see some nice headshots from Rogue to defend.
Yeah, basically it is all skill from Vice there, as he single-handedly does most of the work, and Hiko's just coming out from the backside, but Hiko's going to be tested again. In fact, he has to get out of there. He gets completely destroyed by flashbangs. Vice once again shows up to save the day, though, as he picks up the quick 2 kills. Hiko finding 2 and then a 3rd as he quickly switches over and stops that rushed play from Ghost.
Yeah, interesting to have the B main smoke go down, so it kind of guises their entrance and it allows them to get up close. The flash through it is to catch anybody on the other side of the smoke off guard, obviously, because they might just be looking at the smoke, not expecting anybody to do anything except take checker control. Really, it's something, it's a strat you wouldn't want to use on a rifle round because it's a lot more risky, but at the same time, and on an eco, it makes way more sense because you have much less to lose. Ideally, you get a plant. Hopefully you catch one player off guard, and you've got to do something to get an advantage versus rifles.
Well, Shinobi tries to go aggressively inside. Little does he know there's all 5 players from Ghost sitting here. Despite the flashbang to try and counteract the push, Rix is still able to claim that 2nd kill. A little bit of pressure going to be on this A site now, so Uber hesitates on peeking, but even when he does peek out, he's only able to get 1 frag. These trades are not going the way that Rogue needs them to right now. That's a very bad sign. Even Hiko is trying to slowly kind of push back in here, is getting tagged down, but Vice in the flank picks up 1. He'll be mollied out, doesn't care though, just pushes right past it to try and align with his teammate a little bit better for the retake here. And now his smokes fade away, a little bit more room to push back in. Vice gotta be careful, this is a nasty setup, and in fact ZQK, he's gonna be able to punish. Takes down Vice and leaves only Hiko alive to try and clutch this 1v3. First target's gonna be Connor sitting in the backside. Nope, they're all peeking out, and they'll be able to take him down as Ghost steal it on basically a full eco.
You gotta wonder about the flash into A main. I think it was a pretty safe play, but at the same time, even with all those players blind, a team coming into A main to set up for maybe a default, and on that round it wasn't anti-eco. They could have had somebody turned around and been able to trade out frag. Ultimately, the Flash just pushed everyone to the side of the boxes and didn't really give him any openings, and he didn't have a lot of time to set up to shoot either. So it's kind of like if you know the rush is coming, you have 3 at A, you're better set up in that situation than to try to get an advantage when it's kind of the T's job to do that. And we see that why that can be kind of risky. That being said, he probably should have just gotten a kill. There was some really nice pistol shots being hit, and that's why we're talking and framing the round in that way. But yeah, a bit of a risk to take this early on.
Well, Ghost are going to do something interesting here as they go in and basically take Checker's control for free, but they're going to transition it into mid instead of going forward into the site. They go out there and try to take down anyone that would spike them early on. Vice attempts to take a position inside of that one and done corner again, but gets knocked out by Wardell before he can really do anything there. Doesn't even do that much damage either. I think he knocks off 25 HP from ZQK, but that's about it. Besides that, though, Ghost just sits surrounding the site. They have that 1 kill as an advantage, but they know now that Rogue got forced into this round 2. So they're going to play things a bit more slowly, and eventually it looks like they are going to end up backing away from the B hulls, heading back over here to mid, maybe changing up the hit to an A play instead.
We have mid control being taken, and that means that Ghost can control rotations a lot better. Rogue kind of have to guess as to where they're going to go and stack, but Rogue seem to, on a good read, feel like it is going to be a juggle back to A, even though there's players defense, Checkers, and B main. Sev here bullying Highway, but doesn't need to take this fight, or doesn't need to commit to it too hard. Rix also has his back at Z, and now they can decide to split, but Uber doing a great job holding down Squeaky.
Murray's going to try to push forward here too, but just in the nick of time before he was going to be able to knock out Wardell. Seb comes in there, takes him down. Shinobi's available for a trade though, and that leaves this down into a 1v2 with Wardell looking to clutch it out. It would be a massive round from him if he can do it. He'd end up on a 4K. Spots the first players pushing him from red box, tries to take the angle outside, but not going to happen. Shinobi will knock him out, and Rogue will just retake control.
Yeah, honestly, they could have just split B there, no problem. They had Checker control, they had B main, they got some information, they knew that no one was there, they had mid as well, and it would have looked something like the pistol round, except Rogue would have been worse set up to deal with it. The rotates in, I think, and the delay was just because they felt like Rogue were going to overstack, and it was actually Rogue to be smart enough to realize that that wasn't the end of the round. So good call by them on that very little information and go back to A with most of their players. And now that they're in Ghost's head, I think Ghosts are going to be a little bit worried, because that was a pretty big buy, and such a big discrepancy in equipment value is Rogue had half armor on anybody. Everybody didn't even have a kit for the defuse.
We're gonna have Bison, I think, going into that round. A nice early kill from Vice as Wardell tries to swing out quickly. Unfortunately, he's gonna get knocked out by Vice there. And now Rix will pick up the op, but he's there for the quick trade. Finds Vice trying to go back inside of the site and quickly brings us back down to a 4v4.
ZQK holding down mid. Uber pushed up alone at mid, and you know, as dangerous as this looks, it's actually quite common for people to do. The difficult part is that he's in a spot that if he takes a fight, he's got to move, and typically he can only move to under the pipe, which gets mollied out, and it's this flowchart of decisions that T's make to just isolate this one player who has no support. In this situation, however, it doesn't seem like they're appropriately set up to put pressure on him, and he might be able to get a lot out of this position.
He's moving now, though.
Yeah.
Going into the open, so we might just find this duel versus ZQK, but ZQK is not ready for that at all. Albert turns his back, and that's where Connor's going to find the quick trade as the second guy comes out from mid there. So leaves it into an even 3v3. The site's set up for the guys over here on Rogue side. They're going to have 2 on B. One is currently moving away towards mid, however. We're just changing things up a little bit closer to heaven there. He's going to need to go back into the site, though, as Ghosts are getting prepared to move in. Now the time's getting a little bit low. Shinobi, no surprise, a good smoke. Now he's trying to creep back in. He's going to need to as well, as Antico just got lit up pretty heavily. Moves in, lines up the first headshot and a second. Knows where the third is, but Connor will take him down, and quickly he follows it up with a second kill against Tico as well. Now just bringing this down to another 1v1 with Whitmer from the CT side, trying to clutch things out as he pushes back in from CT. He's going to head over towards heaven now. Won't go in yet, but with that nade, Connor now knows which way he's going to move in from. He'll look to see if he can get the kill early on. So Whitmer pushing up, spots him there, lines it up, and there you go. Nicely played from Connor as he clutches it out for the side of Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, those are some good nades from Whitmer to make the site a little bit more contentious and hard to stand on in plants. And he didn't know if the molly was going to spread behind him, but he also had to watch above and in front. And Connor deciding to take that fight made a lot of sense. 4 kills in the round, huge impact, and it wouldn't have been even this close if Shinobi hadn't pushed through that smoke and got those 2 kills. That was a really important play to support his teammate on the site. So overall, it was kind of a good effort by both teams, and Ghost to come out on top and also put Rogue on a save.
5-7, despite the changes, still going to do a little bit of work there. He actually didn't even get that kill, by the way. That was actually ZQK that team killed his own teammate and then followed it through by taking him out. But still, trade's a trade, I suppose, as it gets brought down to a 4v4. And the rest of Ghost sits slowly trying to play this out. Rogue, though, for the most part, besides this, just playing with upgraded pistols and armor. Vice being the one exception as he gets himself the ump. And I think Wardell just spotted that exact push from Vice. Knows he's sitting in Sunroom, so they should be ready to deal with him. But Vice is not going to be sticking around there for too long. He decides to quickly back up since he's really the only player defending B at this point. The other three with assorted deagles and 5-7s are going to be over on A. I'm actually surprised we're still seeing the 5-7 in play considering the change. I thought everyone would have switched to the CZ by now. But regardless, Hiko is going to get taken out there by Rix, just sniping another player out, and it looks like they're going to go pretty straightforward into the B site after that kill.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a weird buy because they have all head armor, no bot nades, no kit. They did invest all their money though, it seems. Now Vice is just by himself, about to get crushed.
We're looking for a quick headshot if he can peek into it, and there it is. Ooh, he dropped the bomb too, and knows where a second one is. Fortunately, overextends just a tad there. Uber finds one more. As we see Seb trading that kill onto Vice, so it's just Uber left alive here as he pushes in through vents. But you'll note he has the bomb still, so these players will have to push in against him. He's going to be a little bit careful in peeking out, but he misses that headshot attempt, and Seb will close it out for Ghost.
Yeah, and that's going to be definitely... That's going to put Rogue in a tough position. They've got between 27 and 1900 between the 5 of them, and Ghost have a lot more money. They're going to recognize also that Rogue absolutely cannot have money to buy. In fact, I think they're going to be pretty happy to find last round that they just spent all that money, because that's like a a full buy round that's easy to win. So now they're probably going to try to funnel as many kills as they can into ZQK to build up that bank and maintain as many players alive as possible so that they're prepared for the next rifle that they have to fight.
And Ghost aren't really going to be giving anything away here. They all push inside of A main, but you'll note there's a little bit of a change up here as we have 3 players from Rogue pushing inside of Squeaky. That's being managed though. Mollies and smokes being tossed into the back site. And they're paying attention now as they've seen the door was left open. So they're going to know something's up because of that. Whether they'll realize it's 3 players or not is yet to be seen. As Uber does sneak out the first kill. I believe that's coming from further back in the site though. Actually, no, it is from inside of that Squeaky position there. As Uber finds it first. So they'll just close the door, try to cordon it off, and a few of these Rogue players will have to try and find better positions. In terms of a retake, this is still going to be a little bit rough to try and attempt to pull this off since they're all stuck inside of Squeaky. But let's see. They are trying to peek out now to look for some damage. Wardell just slowly knocking down HP one by one. And there we go. 2 quick kills for him. As he finds Uber and Shinobi. The 3rd player still yet to be seen, but there he is. And Rix will knock him out. And ZQK closes out on that last player over by Truck.
It's definitely good they don't rush around from Squeaky because that is a huge pain point for any player any players that plant on the A site, and that's why we saw it go so intent on trying to kill them before getting the bombed out. Once they lost their first player, they closed the door. They realized, okay, these guys can't really come out that easily, and it's on Rogue to help their teammates are able to rotate into spots where they can crush the site together. But at the end of the day, it is rifle versus pistols, and because that door has to open, they both all have to come out of this very small choke point. It still goes favor. Now we set up in a default. It's another buyout for Rogue. It's a bit of a tattered buy. We have Whitmer going glass cannon, Uber the only one with a kit. Pretty standard default on both sides. 2-2-1, 1 player pushed up mid, and Ghost hoping for a push at the moment.
And Rogue, obviously with that extra mid presence, it is going to leave the site loose over towards A a little bit more vulnerable than usual. So Rogue will have to be cautious of that one. So we did see a direct A play in the last round from Ghost, and it looks like this time they are going to try to pressure towards it. No commitment just yet. They are just split evenly across that map still, but Connor and Wardell have already pushed up to behind the box. You have Seb playing around, making a little bit of noise there inside of Squeaky. I think Nobody's going to swing the door open as they do try to get a little bit of pressure at least out onto that site, and that's going to bring Whitmer over from mid to at least add a 2nd player to the equation now. I'm still waiting in garage though, so Ghost could potentially call this off, but I think with the B-Halls player falling back to retrieve that bomb now, it is probably going to be sticking to this site, and Rogue are going to have to realize this soon. They still only have the 2 players sitting here, with the other 3 pretty fully committed to B, and yep, there's the rotation, almost right on time. So we are looking to see Ghost get ready for their own execute here. This is really the only amount of pressure they've seen has been over on this A-bomb site, so it is correct to expect it to come in here. And now we see that 3rd player getting added to Truck, another one watching for highway pressure in case they go mid too. Whitmer actually getting caught up there, didn't realize he was inside the molly, so he gets dropped down to 23 HP. Connor will get the first kill too. Great flashes coming out from the Ghost side of things. Rogue really can't do anything to stop that as they've been blinded out completely. And just like that, it's down to Vice. Not a whole lot he can do. Way over on B, he's going to have to save as this round's going to be Ghosts.
Okay, that was actually just a monster of an execute. We saw Whitmer blind in a molly and took almost 90 damage just from not even being able to shoot a bullet, realizing that he has no chance, had to fall off, and then both his teammates on the site died blinded. Absolutely nobody there had seen a terrorist before they died, which is perfect. Exactly how you want your rounds to go, right? For nobody to see you when you kill them. And yeah, that looked fantastic. And I was going to say, because they know that if they had a good feel for like the economy of Rogue right now, they'd realize that on low nades it'd be difficult for them to hold mid, and that they're probably going to like play stack sites or push sites or something like that. And that's probably why they defaulted instead. But they could have got away with any kind of split they wanted to, really, and that's just the power of having more utility on a rifle round. Vice there in the last moments of the round looks for a second fight, gets one, and it's a small consolation prize. Hanging on to this rifle is really nice. Hopefully it doesn't influence another buy. That'd probably be a bad decision considering they have between 3 and 4K, and there's Uber, kind of the only person who had an opportunity to fight. And both players here just about 8 flashes.
Yeah, all those CTs completely blind in case you guys missed the actual round there. So there was basically no chance for any of them to fight back. Really well-placed utility by Ghost, and it made the site take extremely easy. And again, it's going to put Rogue on a bit of an off-road buy here. Whitmer starting it off nicely at the very least as he gets that Deagle headshot, but just as nice. QK from long range down outside of B is going to be able to get one of Whitmer as well. Almost just takes Rix out of the air. He'll finish it off when he re-peaks, and now he's looking for the AK so he can take the battle against the boost players too. He's looking for them to still mess around, but I believe they both backed up and went inside A main. So they gave up that position as that push did not work out, and now they left it into an evenly traded position, also with 2 players from Rogue now having AKs to play with as well.
Tough part for Whitmer is he has no armor, and actually they just pushed that update that allows you to take less aim punch for not having armor, so maybe we'll see that come into effect here, as he's probably going to have to take a straight up fight on players crossing the site. Standard practice for both teams, they know exactly what's up.
And it's actually going to be Vice that strikes first, which is great for Whitmer, though, because more attention drawn to him, at least until he takes that shot. Here's the even better news, though, is that Vice can push right back up. ZQK doesn't stand a chance. Seb will trade, and now he's alone here, trying to survive, and especially after getting pegged down to just 2 HP. He's trying to lurk around, play a bit of ring around the rosy with Hiko, but little does he know, Vice is running out of A main to knock him out and give the round to Rogue.
That was nice. I think Vice smelled that he was going to maybe try to hightail it away, and they could just push him 2 together and start running as well, which was pretty smart. Ghost recover on the eco round, starting off with a nice 1 dig from Whitmer. Here, straight out to mid. No Vents control for Connor. And yeah, a second kill here, very nice, picking up that rifle and putting on more pressure. So definitely a huge round from Whitmer. The opening kills are particularly important. And because Ghost had that eco round to work off of, and Rogue kind of threw away a round where they had like a really poor buy, it's allowed Ghost to buy again here, and will mean that Rogue will have to earn their way to an eco.
And Shinobi's going to try to play up close again, this time from the other side of things, though, as that re-smoke comes into mid. Ghosts do start to put a little bit of pressure up on Boost there as they send Wardell over the top. He's not going to be able to spot much just yet, at least until he peeks forward more, and that's where he would find Shinobi, as he's also tucked safely behind that smoke that prevents him from being spotted by most positions inside of Boost there. Ghost, I think, definitely knows something's up as they are trying to check the corners when they move out. Not only this, but Rogue, for the most part, have developed a bit of a pattern here of playing aggressively in mid. So it is kind of in their pattern to expect this now, as they look for Shinobi probably coming outside. Shinobi is 100% paying attention to the top side, though. Finally, after some delay, flash over top does completely blind Shinobi, but the follow-up is slow. Trying to bait out the shots, and it does work. He almost gets that kill on ZQK, too, but can't find it. Just falls short. ZQK will knock him out, and that brings it down to a 5v4. No map control taken just yet by Ghost, but that's going to change now after that kill as they move in and take some mid control.
That's how we always see like Fur playing on the left side of mid as opposed to the right side, just because watching the boost can be kind of difficult if you have to watch boost and someone coming out lower mid. Whereas if you're sitting under, sometimes you can catch someone coming out or just peeking mid like ZQK and then look up to the boost. It's still a difficult fight and it's still tough when you're alone, but that's why we see that decision being made. Uber holding A main late, very important for them. Whitmer also in the fire, very confidently coming out and taking 2 kills. Nice stuff.
Finally, he's going to get taken down by Wardell, but the thing is, there's no time left to plant the bomb. Rix will move in, takes out one of the remaining players for Rogue, but Vice still stands alive, and as the timer ticks past 0, that'll give it to the CTs. We're tied again, 5-5.
Yeah, I think we definitely see an opening for Ghost at mid, however, even though no matter which side they play it on, it seems like they're playing it solo most of the time, especially later on they desert their teammate. And it doesn't seem like they have a smoke for, they don't keep their smokes long enough, and Ghosts aren't moving quickly enough to maybe bait their smokes out. So number one, if Rogue, or on Rogue side, if they use their smokes a little bit later, it'll probably be a big benefit. Whitmer actually gets hit through the wall, but because he has superior position, takes that 50 damage and trades Wardello, no problem.
They lost the op too, because it didn't fall back down, so there we go, they got it now. They did lose it for a second there, so they had to spend some time getting it again. As Connor's going to pick it up for now. It looks like they're going at least partially back into B. Shinobi, he's already spotted Rix though, and well, that's not going to work out too well. The flashbang just destroys Rix, and Shinobi jumps on that opportunity, and we'll take him actually out of the round. ZQK is looking for a trade. He definitely heard the player going down in the checkers, and I think he's trying to tag him as he moves out of checks, but not happening at the moment. The flashbang dodges that, can't find the headshot though. And more nades are just going to be lobbed in ZQK's direction. It's a bit of a misdirection, however, they got to be careful of this. There's still that pressure in mid they have to worry about. Finally, Shinobi takes it down, but for whatever reason, the other two players from Ghost are also rotating over here. Despite the losses that the T side has taken in trying to push this direction, they don't feel confident about going towards the A side either. So it looked like for a second they were going to want to go in, but nope. Scratch that as they go up highway instead. And that's a quick shot from Whitmer to take out the bomb carrier. Just Seb remaining. He's got 40 seconds to pull off a 1v4 or plant the bomb here. He'll smoke himself off from the site. Looks to see if he can spot something from the right side, but nope. Whitmer is going to see him going up the ladder there. Quick shot from him. Gives another round of Rogue.
Yeah, Whitmer's off's like a magnet today. And even yesterday, he was actually playing pretty well as well. So it's good to see him hitting shots. Now, Rogue have finally taken a lead, which is really good. Ghosts are, I want to say, pausing, even though it is going to be an eco round. So they've got to consider what their options are. I think some of their opening plays have been okay. Like that mid boost that they used to just try to kill Wardell could have gone the either way, or Wardell tried to kill Whitmer, excuse me. Could have gone the either way, obviously, but not getting out there fast enough. But the thing is, they don't need to rely on spawns because Rogue are deserting mid like halfway through the round. So if they actually just do a mid execute to take it, they might be rewarded with a kill. It seems like 4 out of 5 rounds on someone close up that they probably wouldn't even have to trade out. They should be able to easily isolate them, have them blind, something like that. And there typically isn't even like a Z rotator or high rotator that have been in a proper position to support him when they've been sniffing out mid. So there's an opportunity there to get an opening kill. That's a big one. And then holding on to mid control for their executes. But also their A hit was super good. And I think if we don't actually... It's hard to justify kind of full executing A when mid is kind of T-favored a lot of the time, and A is such like a wide open site that CTs are comfortable retaking, so it's hard to justify using that much utility on. But when you see an execute like that and you see Rogue actually playing 2-3 people in the sites, then that's a good opportunity for kills.
Ghosts do end up, as you were mentioning before, on just an eco round here. A couple armor buys coming up behind it, but Hiko's going to look to have a little bit of fun. He busts out the mag 7 for this round, sees the molly coming in, so he's going to expect at least a little bit of pressure to send in that direction. Vice just spraying right through, though, doing so much damage. Hiko doesn't even end up contributing at all from his position there, as he completely misses the push. Wardell will find at least one. Looking for a second on the P250, but not going to happen. Rix tries to do the same thing, but Hiko takes him down, and it's a quick one for Rogue to do some great spray from Vice and a quick rotate to make sure they don't make any progress at all with that push.
Yeah, so it's a different strategy kind of than the last buy that we saw. It's a little bit more invested, as we can see the mollies to get people out of spots, and an interesting strategy, but Vice was too aware of it, and that spray was perfect, obviously, right around the corner through the smoke, and doing so much damage that it made it difficult for the Ts who have to come out kind of like Zerglings for people who play StarCraft, have to come in and swarm the place. It makes it much more difficult with only 2 or 3 people.
So quickly, we're going to see a smoke a line to go into the site, but Whitmer sitting in A main, and they're not even checking it. The bomb goes down first, too, so we should see quick rotates making its way over here. Tries to go for the second, but he couldn't get far back enough, so it's 1-for-1 trades for the most part. As we see Ghost trying to go in and take quick control of the site, they do have to take a moment to reapply their own smoke so they can pick up the bomb in a safe manner. They'll do that, they get control. Now it's going to be a 3v3 retake, and Ghosts pretty much have used all of their utility. They have 1 molly sitting left over. The 3 guys still up and running for Rogue basically still have their full entire kit, so they should have quite a lot of not only time, but utility to play with on this retake here. As we can see, Hiko going over to Squeaky, still has the door open, ready to go back in. The molly maybe a little bit too far to the corner, but Seb was ready to smoke that if necessary. Now finally Hiko going to lurk back out, just catches Seb standing around doing nothing, it seems. ZQK doesn't last very long either, and Rix, he's smoked off inside of Amy, and there's no hope for him to stop the defuse. He's just going to sit away in this top box corner, maybe pick up a kill or 2, and let Rogue have another round. Yeah,
there's a really good point to bring up that the utility and also the positioning from Hiko meant it was just going to be too easy to win that round. They had so many options, so much time left over, full HP, all their utility. They could molly out spots. They knew Forklift was clear because Hiko was there, and because he got there so early, you know, he could walk the entire time. And because that door was open, it made it so much easier for him to get information. So it's no surprise to me that he was able to get a kill. It would be tough for Ghost to predict that. that he would be there, and that made it difficult. But the A exec once again was really good. But see, that's the thing. If you exec on A, you use a lot of utility. Well, CTs are fine playing retake on A. Sometimes you play no people on A, and you can still win the round easily. So it's tough. But in that situation, it was kind of like a rush strat where they only used a couple of flashes to get Whitmer off his angle. But Whitmer did get the opening kill, so that helped quite a bit.
Yeah, he was playing very far forward too from where he'd usually been playing in that round. So puts him right up in front, and despite only getting a 1-for-1, did set up nicely for the retake there. And now we're going to see them, oh, actually a great flashbang, but look, Whitmer managed to stay alive, just barely got back out and around the corner, and makes it out with still about half of his HP. That's going to send pretty much everybody from those B halls. There's only one player, I think, to begin with, but it is going to push Rix in the other direction to group up in those A halls. Not seeing anyone line up for any sort of mid-control here, too, but that's going to change now, as Rix does pop up on top there. He's got quite a bit of CT presence to deal with if he does follow through and go into mid. So he might just end up delaying this. In fact, it looks like we're going to just see an outright counter boost from Rogue very late in the round. Hiko should have just seen Rix.
Yeah, Rix didn't see him, though.
There we go. Walks right up. And the quick headshot. Maybe not a knife today. And as he moves in, he does spot a second player, too. The problem is, though, the execute is in full force now, and they just didn't really have anyone else in the site to defend it, so they let them move in. They don't have as much utility as they had in the last round here, but now with that extra kill, they've got the numbers advantage, and Whitmer almost just getting wrecked through the wall. Goes down to a 15 HP after that, too. He's got to be very careful about his peeks. Seb getting tagged, too, but it allows him to peek out and find Shinobi in the open. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword there. Vice trading it back. Rogue, despite having the man advantage, they're getting low on time now, so flashbang's going and only blinds one of their own teammates now. Wardell swings out, kills Whitmer, finishing him off. He almost gets Vice as he trades that back, but Seb's still alive. However, Hiko finds him through terrain, and with that, may leave enough time for Rogue to not only defuse, but push ahead with a 9-5 lead going into the last round of the head.
Wow, that could have gone either way. Yeah, that could have gone either way in that after plant. That was crazy. I thought Seb had a really good spot. Once again, in Squeaky, he was able to help help his teammates because he was able to kill Hiko. Crossing from A main, that should have been a guaranteed kill. Somehow Hiko actually wins his duels and gets 3 kills and off of the big flank too, which is huge. They were going to use Rix to have him come up late mid, and him getting immediately shut down makes them super worried because they know that it's going to be an A hit and they have nobody in A main to watch him. So it kind of throws a wrench in the plans. Rogue picked a good time to be aggressive, and it's like counter boosting is risky, but it's not risky if they don't think you're going to do it, and you kind of have to go off of, well, what have been their tendencies for the half. If they've never boosted before, are you going to end up watching it? Probably not. So they did abuse that, which is good.
I like them when teams do that bit of a truck boost there, and it almost led to them getting an early kill too on Ghost Sent, as they almost find the player by White Box, but Shinobi's able to back away, keep himself alive for now. And again, bit of a heavy mid-presence setup from Rogue as they have one sitting behind sandbags and another over here towards White Box. Shinobi sitting behind it at the white box position. We almost saw him get picked off earlier by the op. He's going to see someone jumping down on those rafters, though, so no sneaky kills this time. Even goes back out, finds a second guy up on top of Boost, too. Quickly shutting down most of the force behind Ghost's presence across the map. They still have one player that they can send out in mid, but the other two in A are both going to try to push in from Squeaky, and they've lost that mid player now as well. Rix goes down. They will be able to go in and find a plant, but on the 15th round, it's not going to mean much unless they can actually follow it through and win the post plant, which now with this 2v5 and basically zero utility for them to work with is going to be a very, very tough task. But let's see. There's the first kill. 20% of the way there, at least. They did lose one of their own teammates in the trade, though. Yeah, ZQK not going to last very long at all from that back corner position. It's going to be another round for Rogue as they go up to 10.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of the rounds could have gone either way, but we saw critical impact from a lot of players on Rogue that allowed them to like save their economy. Whitmer hitting a lot of good shots. Vice on this pistol round is a very big deal. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of exciting moments, and way more in the second half. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA. ESL Pro League is brought.
Welcome back, folks. It's almost time to jump into the second half of our very first map here on Cash. It's Rogue taking on Ghost GG, and we did indeed see Rogue come ahead at the beginning of the first half, taking control 10-5 there. We're struggling a little bit at the beginning. We saw quite a few rounds traded back and forth, but at the end of the day, quite a few crucial clutches from Rogue members and individual plays as well allowed them to push ahead in so many rounds, and now gives them this nice lead to start the second half off.
Yeah, it was definitely a battle of economy, and I think we saw some missteps from Rogue in the beginning of the half where it felt like they were probably buying on rounds they could have just saved one and had a solid one, but they ended up making the most of it. And you could say from that perspective, maybe it could have been even a more dominant half in their perspective, when I thought initially Ghosts were actually going to do a little bit better than that. So overall, I think there was kind of cool things that both teams did. Like, to note, I think especially Ghost flashes were really cool. Like their flashes for their rush A hit as well as their slower A hit were both kind of definitely calculated, obviously. And then also for Rogue, their retakes were really good, and sometimes their kind of gamble stacks are going off reads, or I think what the tendencies they felt like Ghost had made a lot of sense, even though they didn't have that information. So they caught him off guard a couple of times and like coming back to A when they thought it was going to be a B hit, and vice versa. Yeah,
so strong CT side for them, and now we're going to have to see how things hold up on their T side, and maybe things will remain just as strong, specifically Vice showing up. He had a great first half with his own individual performance. We had like rounds where they were going up against ecos and trying to stop rushes as well, where he just sprays into the smoke, kills like 2 or 3 guys despite having nades coming back at him. So great start for him, and now we have to see how that follows through on the T side, of course.
Into the pistol round, we have one set of nades on Uber. Smoke, flash, flash. It seems like they might be gearing up for a very simple smoke between Fork and Red. Flash out into the site, assist that squeaky player to get close in and kill anybody on there and go for the plant. One player, Hiko, is at mid to hold for rotates, catch anybody, or listen for an event player, anybody flanking B, and to try to do as much damage as possible.
Yeah, ZQK just trying to pre-fire into there, see if he can get anyone himself. Hiko is waiting, gets one, looking for more here. The Glock, though, is not going to be blessing him today. He only gets that 1 kill. The second one will be traded back by Seb against Hiko himself, so it brings us into a 4v4. Wastes quite a bit of time, though. A good like 5 seconds wasted in that gunfight, but Seb moving up, thinks he has a for sure kill against Uber, but not the case. And meanwhile, out on the site itself, it's just an absolute shutdown. Rogue take quick control of the pistol yet again, as they're going to start off with the lead once more for the second half.
Yeah, it's really rough. We have the second pistol into this half, and we have Ghost back on the back foot once again, having to decide whether or not they want to buy up. I think it seems like they're going to be spending some of their money, if not all of it. Yeah, expecting an eco strat here. 3 players do save, but which is kind of interesting. So they'll have a, this carries on obviously into future rounds and will affect their economy moving forward. Wardell taking just a spot of damage. Could have been a lot worse, honestly, if that nade was more on point. But it's pretty much a default here. They aren't actually doing any kind of gamble, push, or stack. And Rogue playing the same game, expecting in an anti-eco setup, very safe, having 1 player at the box, 1 player on flex from A main to wait for any flash that comes in. Hiko prepared to stop any pushes, and a player all the way back in B that can kind of control anybody who wants to push from a very long distance.
Ghosts are not taking any risks at all on this horse buy, keeping pretty much everybody back into those default CT positions. Rogue, we're kind of hoping someone would push out, but not spotting anyone here, so eventually they're going to have to move in and execute. It's a little bit quiet, obviously, since it's early in the half, so neither team really has a whole lot of utility to toss back out, especially the CTs. So we're not going to be seeing any smokes or anything deployed in those first 30 to 40 seconds of the round. But now, as time does get a little bit lower, they are going to get ready to execute into the A-bomb site as their first grenades get lobbed back out, mainly towards that quad position there as they try to force players away from it. But Ghost have not put anyone in there. They're all basically going to be at the cross between Forklift and Red. There's actually a slight hole in the smoke too, so Connor may try to abuse that as he goes in. Shinobi as well here is going to be able to pick up a first kill through that hole, but now Connor strikes. He's able to find one as Whitmer doesn't realize he's sitting right next to that cardboard box there. He'll take him down. Brings us down to a 4v4. They picked up that first kill on the way in. Although they boost up, but look at this from Connor, just runs around the backside and kills both of them on that boost up stack. Vice is going to run back in, but he can't stop the defuse. They're already about halfway there, and while ZQK swings out, takes down Uber, and Ghost, off of this huge play from Connor, are going to win the round as he ends up with a 4K.
Jesus, man. Oh, man. Whitmer actually just went overextended there, didn't check his left, and people always stand in front of that smoke, so should have definitely been more aware of that. I don't even think it was necessary for him to go in that far, and that really set Connor off, who obviously got that initial kill, moved into the site, and with that boost and quad, it cuts both ways because it gives you sight on the highway. It allows you to have like a headshot angle, but if someone spots you, they know two people are a quad, which it can be difficult. It can be difficult from there to capitalize if you have to move into new spots.
Weiss looks for a quick kill, but Rix gets a double actually. Saw the first one, but apparently Hiko's standing right next to him. Doesn't leave a lot of room for him to stay alive there as well. So great start for Rix and the rest of Ghosts. Already seeing Rogue brought down to 3 players, and they're still sticking around in these halls too. So I might see more happening in a few moments, especially towards mid. Wardell, he's pushed up. He's going to be hiding in the corner there just to the left of Whitmer. Whitmer getting tagged and again taken down by Rix, of all people. Just all over the map at this point now.
Definitely. I don't even know how this initial damage, was a good nade maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he just sprayed. I'm not sure if there was a nade tossed in there or not, but regardless, he goes out. There's 4. Can we see the ace? Oh, Wardell steals it from him at the last.
Oh, what a guy. Yeah, that's solid round. 5 alive. They actually retained 3 AKs off of that eco, so they had so much money winning that eco round where they didn't even spend all their money. They only had 2 people with armor. Everybody upgraded their pistol, and then and here on a full-on rifle round, saving everything. So we might actually see a comeback. It's not a partial comeback, but they're definitely feeling confident on top of everything else. So Vice and Shinobi now have a smoke and a flash. They're moving definitely all of their pieces out to A3 Squeaky. And Squeaky is really favorable to get really close to the bomb plant zone, and a flash from A main can assist those players out. So that's why we very often see walks in Squeaky. And Seb from the boost spot is in a really favorable spot, though.
Connor going to be challenging it again. We already saw him go off a few rounds ago, and against Nico, it should be even easier.
Oh my god.
Swings there. Seb doesn't get that last kill, but it's Connor helping him out.
That's like quite simply just like the wrong site to go to, and there's like no way you can know. You know, you've got like 1 player Shroud, 1 player Fork, they've got a Crossfire, and then 3 players on the site in total versus this eco. So maybe they know Rogue like to go ecos towards A, yeah, there was not much they can do there. In that situation, it would have been very, very difficult, even with like that initial headshot to win the round. Now Rogue, however, are going to be buying once again. Whitmer is going to be picking that up. No armor, but this time on the T side, and fast mid control on the ducket for Rogue.
Uber trying to quickly swing out here, tap onto some headshots if he can find anybody. Molly will scare him away, though actually doesn't take any damage from it, still maintains it full HP. And in the meantime, obviously you've got Hiko out here taking that fast mid control. Ghosts don't contest mid at all, which is already a huge change up in setup compared to what we were seeing from Rogue in the last half, where Rogue almost always had at least 1 to 2 people stacking in mid there. So Ghosts are going to leave it open a little bit more, and that leads to this, where they quickly are able to go in and take fast control over the B bomb site. Also finding 2 kills to support it. Basically no one else from Ghost in the area, so I'm curious if they're even going to attempt a retake here. They might just fall back and save.
Damn, that was actually pretty smart from Rogue to go that fast to a B split, because they took mid control, which is theirs, right? That's 1 point towards them. And then Ghost in response push A, which is great, which is what you're supposed to do, push an extremity on the map versus mid control. But Ghost actually had 3 people still supporting him on that push towards A main, and Ghost and Rogue, excuse me, were contesting it. So Ghost felt like we're safe. We've got some time. We have the perfect response to their mid control. But what Rogue did was they moved fast towards B, so the rotate didn't even come out, and then that allowed them to isolate 1 person on the site. ZQK peeked out a little bit too far when he threw his flash, and he was trying to show his body so that he could get the attention of the T's to look into the flash. However, he gave up too much of his body and died on the initial peek when it should have just been like a shoulder. So, and you know, individual play like that, when you're kind of the deady person on the smaller site, like the hard to retake site, can just be like round losing. You know, if you have a player like Hiko on B, for example, like he'll often win you the round by getting 2 kills or just staying alive, and he always finds a way to do it. And that's kind of just an expectation you have to have for your individual on that site.
Well, we're going to see Rogue splitting up into that default again. No quick pushes across the map to try and take any control. That may change with Vice over in the B halls. He will walk in to find an empty site, though, if he pushes too far forward, as it's only Wardell looking to contest from Tree Room with that op. Besides that, the B site is open, and Ghost have switched it up now. They're focusing primarily on A, not only having that one player inside of Z, but 3 additional players stacked in the A bomb site. So Rogue are going to have to be very, very careful with the way they tread across the map. They are going to go straight forward with the way it's looking now, and just end up going into some sort of an A play.
The mid of Cash is very meta, and it can be difficult for a CT, kind of like the mid on Mirage. You almost, it's like you have to either just like take a fight, a crazy fight in the middle of like nades and flashes, and understand what nades your opponent's going to throw, or you give it up and play in a setup where you're expecting mid control to be taken, but you're still prepared to defend as a CT, which can be quite difficult. But mid can be T-sided, so I'm not surprised they gave it up here, since Rogue took it with full force last round.
There's going to be Wardell finding his first victim, tries to go for a second, but Whitmer on top of the box. Throws him a fast one, knocks him out, brings us back down into another even battle, and that's the site under the control of Rogue. Again, very, very quickly, we see Rogue moving in and taking that full control. This time, though, it is going to be Ghost that quickly wrap in themselves. The problem is they have all 4 players trying to retake from CT direction, so it's not going to be so easy. You can see one player trying to sneak into Heaven to set up a position for a retake, but that's going to get Molly back out. They'll re-smoke into Tree Room, just as they'd used the flash, too, so that kind of gets wasted. And they have nobody on the flank right now, so nobody's going to go in advance, throw them off. Nobody's in mid. Whitmer has this easy cross angle to find Connor. The smokes will mess him up a little bit, but Uber's there to support. He's just got himself a clothesline angle there. Gets himself 2 kills. Hiko chimes in front of the Ricks. Finally finds a frag, but he's now the last man standing. There's no way he's clutching this. He's got to run hightail out of here and let Rogue push up to 13 rounds. Yeah,
that's another round where they take mid control, hit B off of it. Ghosts aren't prepared for the B hit, and they were actually set up once again to... They had 2 people towards A, 1 person in Z, 1 person in B, and Wardell got his initial kill. Whitmer got a huge trade in that situation. Pretty tough angle to like just nail precisely, and he was able to hit that shot 1-for-1, no problem. So it's given them a huge problem. And also, you feel like if you have your offer at B, you've got like a comfort zone, especially if it's like someone like Wardell, who's going to have impact. But what can you do? It's a great trade. I would also be worried, though, for Ghost in that setup, just because Wardell was in a rotator spot, meaning he would have just gotten smoked out from a smoke that he couldn't stop. And even if they didn't kill him, well, he would have had a difficult time. But Wardell ended up actually dying, going for a pick, similar to what we saw Whitmer doing in the first half.
Okay response, though, with the negative toss back out, but Vice is going to be able to go in and steal the op regardless, take it away. And this is a round where Ghost actually took a bit of a risk and invest into the double op setup, too. So Rogue potentially know this. They go in, they steal the op away. They're still going to have to deal with Connor later in the round if they end up going against him, but he's on the other side of the map right now playing to quad in A. So Whitmer now armed with the op himself. Looking for a pickup if he can get it, but nobody peeking out through checkers, and when he does finally get an opportunity, he's caught behind coverage due to a flash that was tossed out.
I don't know why they did this. I don't like how they just evacuated checkers in that situation. Maybe if you went to checker box, it could have been different, but right now ZQK is on B alone with no utility. He has 1 flash, a headshot, so it's going to be very easy to abuse him.
They're going to go out mid and send at least 1 player into the B halls here. Quickly over to check, or quickly over to Vents too, but Rix is going to spot that. So he is going to be allowed to rotate back in. ZQK, as you were saying before, left alone here, can really only fight with his rifle, but Molly's, they're going to go to the back site. He's caught by one of them, so has to swing out, but still gets a kill before being traded by Uber. A smoke inside of Tree Room, though, will stop any further resistance from the CT side, at least for now, as the plant goes in, and we're going to get a 4v3 post-plant.
Yep.
Whitmer from inside of T-Main as well. Once again, he's going to try to look for that similar shot that he hit on the last round here. See if he can catch anyone quickly swinging back out from Heaven while everybody else pushes in from down below here. And it's a bit of a delay here since nobody wants to go for it, but Connor will be first to strike. Whitmer, though, player that pushes against him is going to be a little bit too fast, but on the repeat, he'll correct that, gets the second one too, and Vice from the other side of the site closes out on the round for Rogue.
It's not surprising that they lose the round once the site is taken, the after plant, and you're doing a great job of hyping it up. But
thanks.
But it's just like, you know, once you lose your like solo man on B, it's just super difficult to retake if everyone's got good spots. And credit to everybody for hitting their shots and kind of meeting their teammates 50% of the way. But Ghost just left like ZQK alone on B with no nades, and we saw him get mollied out on default and have no smoke to help himself out, a single flash to throw, but not an ability to throw it because he's in the molly, and so he had to just swing out wide, take a fight. Rix is nowhere to be seen, and Rogue have gone B 3 times in a row, but for some reason Ghost keeps stacking A.
Yeah, and again, they don't use anywhere else on the map besides just like that heaven and tree room to push back in. They don't try to send anybody towards mid to try and get vents control. They don't try to have anybody flank or anything like that. So it's just really one-dimensional retakes as well. Yeah,
the retaking from it's a good point. The retaking from kind of the two most common and difficult choke points possible, because that's where all the eyes are. And the reason the other choke points are much more favorable and are more favorable is for a couple of reasons. One of those is because you don't expect people to be on big flanks, so you're less likely to watch it. Another is because it allows you, as a CT coming into the site, to have some kind of crossfire. So if you do get that kill in the back, then you open up the potential for one player to have a bad spot to watch you, and he has to move into a new one, and it makes it kind of throws a wrench in the plans when after plants are usually just like, okay, get control of this, have everyone in this XYZ spot. Ooh, wow.
That was just peeking away, but he expects someone to come from Squeaky. Misses the shot, no. Now he's in a really bad spot as he was waiting for that re-peek from Squeaky for so long, but Vice is eventually just going to run out of aim and find him out. Look at Wardell! What? 2 scout headshots in a row? Whitmer is going to trade him back out. We've got to try to get that one on replay. Whitmer is going to take down Wardell. He leaves us even in a 3v3 for now. They're still dealing with a problematic economy situation, as Seb obviously down on an up and ZQK with a CZ, but nonetheless, they trade these kills. The plant is down, however. This has been one of the benefits for Rogue, is when they take control of the site, they waste no time throwing the bomb onto the ground. Shinobi, he'll be out in mid, tries to line up the shot, but actually whiffs a little bit there. Connor's going to trade him. Uber doing no problem giving himself away, but Whitmer, close up, gets the no-scope on Seb to close in the round and win it for Rogue as they push up to 15.
Yeah, and there's Whitmer going huge again, 3 kills, and trading some insane scout shots from Wardell. A couple of really, really nice scout headshots. We move into what could be the last round now. Ghosts don't have much to buy with. They kind of picked a route of 2 bad buys as opposed to 1 good one, trying to stave off match point, because no one wants to have to play 7 match points in a row. But now they have to do that with a much worse buy. So it's very unfortunate for them. Very fortunate for Rogue, who've been really showing up in the second half, though.
And Rogue are just going to go for the jugular this time. Hiko pushes in, finds Seb. Connor, though, close up, tries to trade guns. Maybe not the best time for that, but I think it was almost out of ammo anyway. Uber and Vice claiming 2 more kills. This might be over already here now, as it's just down to ZQK and Rix, both of which are going to have to push back in all the way from the other side of the map on the B-bomb site. Neither of them have a kit. They do have a smoke and molly to try and utilize here. We'll see as they start to push forward. They'll take different angles as well, as ZQK heading up by truck and Rix taking the highway approach to things. Molly goes out. I think Molly was a little bit off the mark anyway. And there you go. 2 quick kills to end it for Rogue as they take control of this first map, 16-8. And we'll start this series off with a 1-0 scoreline.
Yeah, I didn't think Rogue would play that well, especially in that second half, but they did show up. All the pieces were there. The retakes were really good in the first half to get them through it. 2 pistols to support helps quite a bit, but we didn't really see an opportunity for Ghost to come back in spite of the lopsided scoreline because of the pistols. So there's a lot of merit to Rogue's play. It's
a great individual performances too, as you were just mentioning there, specifically from Vice in the first half, and we saw Whitmer really coming alive with that up in the second half too. Some great shots from him, especially kind of in like a lot of those post-plant situations.
Definitely.
Well, I believe our analysts are ready, so we're going to send it over to them to break down this first map. Stunna, take it away.
Hey, thanks guys. Yep, Rogue Ghost kind of turned into what we thought it might. One team certainly advancing much further than the other. So, I mean, even when we break this one down, guys, could it have gone either way at any point?
Yeah, I mean, I love Launders and everything, but I'm going to have to go opposite. I don't think it was Rogue's good play that won the match. I think it was some missteps that were small, but actually really impactful. I love you very much, Launders. Sure, Rogue might have done some things right, but there were some absolute blunders from Ghost, to be honest. Well, we'll talk about a few of them, but you know, I think we might only have 1 on replay, so.
We might and we might not. It's a 50-50 at this point. Yeah. But let's kind of just start from the first half, okay? Looking, let's kind of hone in on the timeout from Ghost Gaming and sort of like the different approach that they had after this timeout, so to say.
So I want to say that at the start, it looked like Ghost was kind of leading in the first part of the first half, and then one of the rounds, they timed out. By timeout, they ran out of time. And after that, they started speeding up their T side defaults and everything. And it looked like they started to fall apart instead of playing their own game plan. So I'm kind of curious if they were shook after that timeout.
Yeah, the approach was kind of half-baked. I think they got their first... I think they got all of their rounds in the first half, right? Because Ghost lost the first half 5-10. I think they got those 5 rounds within the first 8 rounds, right? So like in the first half of the first half was when they got all of their work done. And then they ran into that hurdle, like you said. So,
I mean, on a map like Catch, I like when teams work B a lot more because it looked like Ghost was trying to force that mid A a lot of those rounds, and it felt like if you are successful at B, it kind of just slows down the rotation on the CT side.
Yeah.
It kind of opens up the map, especially towards the A and middle.
And B is harder to retake. So what I noticed is that they tried to do that running B exec that Cloud9 and Renegades have kind of like, you know, they kind of innovated, right? It's that one where there's that cross smoke at B, the molly checker. That's the normal stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the smoke on the opposite side checker door with the second Molotov refreshed under vent and then flashing through the B main smoke. So Ghost tried to do that twice and got absolutely tore down by Vice just spraying through the smoke with his AK because they were missing some of those extra wrinkles in the strat that make it successful, right?
Yeah.
So they had the first part, it was a little half-baked, and then there's some other little things like that where it's like, yeah, I can kind of tell that, you know, things aren't really fully orchestrated here. But I felt like Rogue was like really vulnerable, right? So it's like it's just Ghost kind of threw away opportunity.
Well, vulnerability aside, Rogue does find their first W of the season, and you kind of need to look down at the players too. Let's see, Vice has an excellent showing. He seems to have been on point. Even recently, he's doing a lot of work within this team.
Yeah, he must not have any vices, to be honest, if he's going to show up like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not tired. He doesn't have any vices. He doesn't stay up late. He's consistently fragging and just one-shotting people. Like last night, he was just walking out upper inner on train and just one-tapping super good players.
So we see Cash go in the way of Rogue 16-8. We're going to be getting into Inferno now. That's going to be our next map here in this matchup. Is this going to cater to one side or the other?
On Inferno, I mean, if you have a pretty coordinated T side, it can be pretty easier, I should say. And I felt like on Cash, it looked like Ghost Gaming, they had a game plan, they kind of went away from it, and it showed that that didn't work at all. So maybe on Inferno, they might keep a tighter game plan, and I think that Ghost Gaming will do just a lot better in general if they don't shy away from their...
Yeah, I remember Ghost's first match at like the pro echelon, or one of the first when they played Cloud9 on Inferno and just got absolutely like
dominated.
Yeah, remember it was like
it was
there
rough.
was that like CT pistol round where Cloud9 pushed 3B, and it was the fastest pistol round in a pro Inferno match. It was like literally 12 seconds. Like people just died immediately, and it was I think the scoreline of the whole match was like 16-2. So I'm not like that was a while ago. So I'm hoping they've learned from that, right? Inferno is kind of one of those equalizer maps where most teams know how to play it correctly. It's just whether or not you have the patience to do it, right? Like everyone kind of knows what to do. It's just, you know, can you actually focus every round and do it?
Can you execute on it? Can you make it happen? We're going to be going to a quick break, but these teams are in no shortage of that desire to find their way to Odense. The finals of the Pro League will be held there. But when we come back, we're going to Inferno, so make sure you're with us.